One of the questions that you guys ask me all the time is, what does that look like in a payment? How do I know what I can afford? What does it look like when you have a pool? What does it look like when you have solar? I am coming to you today from my newest listing here in Bakersfield. We are in 93312. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. This house has a solar lease and it has a swimming pool. Yes, please. So I'm going to bring in my beautiful lender friend, Nicole Hawks, and she's going to help you deep dive to figure out what that looks like for you. I'm going to show you around the house, of course, and I'm going to help you hopefully answer that question of what's it going to be like when I move to Bakersfield, live here, call this place home. I have a pool, I have solar, I have everything I want, and all I got to do is just make it happen. So let's talk about it. Let's go. So I'm coming to you from 9809 Valvanera. That is my newest listing here in 93312 in Bakersfield. And this house has a solar payment, a lease, not a PPA. It's not owned, it's a lease. Now, before you get all upset about it being a lease, I want to tell you that this is a level lease payment. It does not accelerate. A lot of times I have said to you before, the solar payment's going to increase. This one does not. This one was put on in 2016, and it is exactly the same payment every month for the life of the lease. So what does that look like for you? How does that translate to your monthly payment, your income? What are you going to do for a job or a career when you move here? Well, I'm going to let you figure that part out, but I'm going to help you figure out how that plays out for you monthly. I brought in Beauty and Brains. As you guys have met Nicole before, she and I did an interview a while back about credit score and what that looks like in buying a house. So I've also brought her in to help figure out some of the numbers for you. Again, this is a target you're shooting for. And if it gets you a beautiful house like the one that we're currently in, yay. If it gets you something higher and more bougie, even better. If it gets you something to shoot for, then that's what we're here to help you with. So, Nicole.
Yes.
Nicole, isn't she awesome? She's with Mortgage House, so when you guys call me and say, I need a lender, I'm gonna send you here.
Please do.
But anyway, so with a conventional buyer, what does that look like for somebody that is trying to figure out, am I a conventional buyer? Am I an FHA buyer? Can you help us out with that first?
Absolutely. Great question. Get asked that all the time. Your conventional buyers typically have a higher credit score. Not to say that somebody with a little bit lower one doesn't go conventional. Everybody's scenario is different. You're never comparing apples to apples. Typically, a FHA buyer has a lower credit score, or maybe is trying to go higher on their debt ratio because it does allow for a little bit higher debt ratio than a conventional buyer will. So everybody's scenario is different.
And that's what we're here to help you with, is because every scenario is different. Your scenario might be different than somebody else's. So we're just going to take this in smaller chunks because we're trying to get you to figure out what it would look like to buy this house. So this house has a $238 a month solar lease payment. If you're a conventional buyer, your credit score is somewhere between
720 and up.
720 and up. And you're putting 5% down. So remember, the more you put down, the more that jimmies with the numbers. So we're gonna go low, and then you can hit the target that you wanna hit. So if you put 5% down, what does that look like, Nicole?
I think about a $36.48 payment with your taxes, insurance, and mortgage insurance all included.
Do they have to have mortgage insurance?
You do. Anytime you put down less than 20%, you are looking at mortgage insurance.
Okay, so there's a target you're gonna hit, right? Do you want private mortgage insurance? If you don't know what that is, I have a video explaining it. She explains it actually. So that's the target for you to hit. Do you have more than 5% to put down? Maybe. If you put down more than 5% and you get upwards of 20% down payment, it gets rid of the private mortgage insurance.
And it is a tier. So if you're doing 5% down, you'll have a little bit higher factor. If you're doing a 10% down, the factor will reduce a little bit. If you're doing 15, 17, 18, it continues to get lower and lower until it completely goes away at 20% on a conventional loan.
This is why she's here. She's the numbers lady. So all of your numbers are going to make a difference on what the payment is. So we're going very broad. We're keeping it very generic. Your scenario is going to be very, very different. Now, if you are an FHA buyer and you are not at a 720 credit score, so FHA buyer, you have to have private mortgage insurance.
You do.
Okay.
And that's no matter how much down. The tiers change. If you go 3.5% down, 10% down, 15, 20, there are different tiers. And for a regular 3.5% down buyer, you are looking at a payment of about $37.15 on this house.
Don't be afraid of the payment. Remember, we're staying very shallow, but that's still good information for you to back that out and figure out your scenario.
So if you're looking to be a conventional buyer, 5% down for this house with the solar at 238, we added in about $1,500 in discretionary debt. We're talking credit cards, student loans,
A car.
credit cards, any of those things. So about $1,500. So we expect you to need to be able to make $115,000 for the household, be it solo, together, whatever the case might be. We had a gentleman today ask if the dad and the husband could qualify. Absolutely. Household income.
Oh, that's a beautiful statement, actually. So it doesn't have to be husband and wife. So the scenario she's talking about was a married couple and their adult child. It was going to be the dad and the adult child. But the mom, obviously their husband and wife, they're married. The mom would still be on title, but the two men in the house would be on the loan. That is absolutely doable here in California, as it is in several other states. But just another scenario to keep in mind. It doesn't have to be two incomes depending on who's living in the house.
Right, exactly. For an FHA buyer, 3.5% down, again, for this amazing property with about $1,500 in discretionary debt again. Estimated about $102,000 a year for the income for the house.
You could make less?
A little bit, maybe within, depending on what those debts are.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah.
FHA allows you to go a little bit higher on that debt ratio, so you give some
Okay.
flexibility.
FHA gives you more wiggle room. Okay.
Mhm.
So if this was something that was of value to you, make sure you are here week after week. I'm trying to make sure that I'm answering all the questions that you guys give to me and ask me on a regular basis. And this is one that comes up all the time. All right, and where are my veterans at? You guys know I love helping my veterans get into houses because, like I always say, this is the easiest part of having served this country. It is a 0% down payment when you are a veteran and you come in with a veteran loan. Am I right?
It is. You can put down more if you like, but the requirement is 0.
And no PMI when you're a veteran, right?
Exactly right.
I mean, come on. A veteran buyer, no down payment, no PMI, and they do have to pay the solar lease,
Solar
right?
lease,
So you
correct.
do have to pay that. We can't get you out of that one. But what does that look like?
Looking at a payment of about $35.97 on that.
That's
With
actually
taxes
really good.
and insurance. Yeah, I mean, 0 down, no mortgage insurance makes a big difference.
Wow, that makes a huge difference. If you're not a veteran, maybe you should be and then come buy this house. No, I'm only kidding. And let me just remind you, we did all of these scenarios based on roughly $1,500, $1,200 to $1,500 in debt, right?
Yeah, we ran some income scenarios to figure out what you might need to make between you and or somebody else, combined or single, to qualify for these payments.
So we're not asking you to even be debt free to buy a house like this. And you guys are seeing the pictures now. This house is, mwah. My sellers did an incredible job getting this house ready to go. Everybody has walked in and went, what? This is even better than the pictures. And this is not the only house in town that looks like this. I can tell you that.
There are a lot of amazing finds here.
Oh my gosh. If you are thinking about moving to and living in Bakersfield, I want you to absolutely reach out to us. This is absolutely doable for you. She can make the numbers work for you, your budget, your lifestyle. And you can have a pool, you can have a spa, you can have a solar, and you can be in a great neighborhood. I mean, all of it is possible. Yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Did we forget anything, Nicole?
I don't think so. Look down below for the details on the annual income
There you go.
for each scenario that we ran. It
Yes.
is an estimate. Everybody's picture is different. So I highly encourage you to reach out to us and we can see what we can do.
So I hope that this helps answer some of the questions that we both get all the time on what can I afford? What's the payment? What's it like to live in Bakersfield? All of the things. We both live here. We both love here. We both absolutely willing to help you when you decide to live in Bakersfield. Call this place home. We look forward to seeing you
Around
around
town.
town.